Hello and welcome to something different. Tonight, we're stepping away from the fast paced world of Gran Turismo, Elden Ring, and Expedition 33 to try something new. I recently stumbled on a few boring history channels on YouTube. Tonight, I want to take you all on a journey with me, not to the lands between, or Azeroth, or even old Lumiere. No, tonight we're going somewhere else. Tonight we're located on a small island about 120 miles west of Costa Rica. This island immediately enchanted you with its white sand beaches and beautiful sights. Massive trees inland as far as the eye could see. Deep valleys and long riverbeds. This island is like a world away from worlds. The smells of salt and ocean breeze, driftwood, and the lingering scents of 100 flowering plants nearby tempt you further onto the island. Now tonight, during my reading, you may hear the crinkling of papers. You might even hear me take a water break. That's because I don't use AI to read a script. I read it myself. If you enjoy the show here tonight, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like the video and share it with your friends. We aren't here tonight to really explore. Well, not yet, anyway. No, starting off tonight, we're administrators. I'll be here to guide you for a little bit, at least through some of the most mundane tasks of administrator life. You're standing there in black suit pants and a white button down, but no tie, wondering why the hell you dressed so warm on an island that doesn't require it. You've already been chastised more than thrice by your superiors for forgetting your tie. Your work shoes, they're required to be black, no skid shoes. Other than that, it was dealer's choice, as they say. A gentle breeze blows past you as you stare for just a moment at the wooden sign that reads Administration. You smile as you look over the small, hut-like structure built quite hastily from palm fronds and other wood and branches from the island. A bead of sweat rolls down your forehead as you take in the breeze for just a moment. You're not 100 yards from the ocean, and yet you can't help but wonder why anyone would ever build this close to the water. You're one tropical storm away from an actual disaster. Thankfully, this evening, that's not your problem. You reach out and open the door to your office. And we use that term quite loosely. Your office is one of a makeshift pop-up building. All are supplied power by a central generator complete with satellite phones and, believe it or not, the internet. Though it's 1992, I'm not really certain what you're going to search for. The world barely knows what code is at this point. No, instead the big box machine in your room is used to mainly send information between admins across the island. Messages, they can sometimes take hours to send, depending on their length. You wonder if a day will ever come when messaging will be near instant. With these giant machines running 2 megabytes of RAM, you expect them to work faster than they do. A small fan runs in the corner of the hut, blowing a gust of stagnant, humid air around the room, making it almost tolerable. Your phone, though the size of a brick, sits charged at a port in the center of your desk. If you wanted, you could call the mainland and tell them to send a helicopter or more supplies. And while they would usually arrive in a month or two, there was really only one person with the sway to get them there the next morning. The director. The director is funding everything here, and this entire project is their vision. Your chair, though comfy, is made of palm and wood with a modest cushion. It doesn't roll, as sand isn't the best floor. Your desk is wide and long, littered with paperwork, everything from endorsements to promotion samples, trying to get this project marketable in time for launch in June of 1993. There is a small cooler in the rear of the hut, where no less than 20 cold bottles of water wait for their eventual selection. You know, however, if you drink too much, you'll end up at the restrooms. They're a near mile hike from where you're currently stationed, and you try to limit your trips each day. Every time you walk there, you swear something is following you in the underbrush along the trail. You asked security to check it out, but they never found anything. Allegedly. Your first client sits in a chair across from yours. He has his hands folded in his lap and wears wide-brimmed glasses. He has khaki shorts on and a fun button-down soft blue shirt decorated with the state flower of Hawaii. He smiles when he sees you, probably wondering how a 20-something got hired as an admin here in the first place. You shake hands and calmly find your seat. You already know the sales pitch. Most of these sales groups all know each other, and this is your 15th meeting this week. He opens with the weather, and you smile, knowing the tactic well. You sit through a story about brand loyalty and the usual partnership malarkey. Then, from a black suitcase that sat at his feet, he retrieves a stuffed animal from your competitors in Florida and California. It's nice. Really nice, in fact. He tells you they made it for $13.86 a unit. They'll make one for you, too. You actually really like this stuffed animal. You play it off and shake hands. You tell him if the director approves it, you'll be in touch. That's a lie. You have the authority to approve it. You never approve on the first meeting. He leaves with a hopeful smile, and now you're all alone in your steamy administration hut. You've just finished approving a few TV commercials. This, to most people, would seem like tedious work. To you, however, it's far more important than any inland boots on the ground work. A good advertisement can make or break a product and its launch. Having overseen 12 previous successful IP launches, you know this as well as anyone. You take a small, mini notepad out of your left breast shirt pocket and open it quickly, thumbing through a dozen or so pages of ideas to a list of must-dos. Your friends back home often joke about to-dos and honey-do lists. You have what you call must-do lists, where the entirety of this project, this park, hinges on you and your ability to buy, sell, and manage. Your list, though long, is slowly getting shorter. Stuffed animals, electrical, cold storage, security, plumbing, food and fare, decor. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Most of which will be addressed this week at the latest. It's already Wednesday. You flip a few more pages when suddenly your satellite phone starts to ring. You're quick to answer and are surprised to hear the director on the other end. He tells you there's a small storm coming and he's moving your operation to the main HQ on the island. He tells you a convoy will be there to get you in 1 hour. You hang up the phone, put your notebook away, and start packing. After boarding the convoy, the drive was long, and to be quite honest, you don't remember much of it, except the fact that the Jeep's AC broke halfway. You tried everything to cool off. Opening a window, fanning with paperwork, anything. Eventually, the humid, hot air overtook the Jeep. What a time for this. Honestly, you couldn't wait to arrive at HQ, where you prayed their systems were better than what you had on the beach. After stopping, you take a moment to look at the Jeep you rode in once more. Who chose that color palette? Seriously. You thought for a moment, and then realized you chose it. After all, it was all about branding. How best to sell this experience to children and adult children alike? You're greeted by a pair of overly serious security guards wearing gray outfits top to bottom with stun sticks, batons, and Beretta 9mm on their hips. They have walkie-talkies clipped to the inside of their shirt pockets and wide-brimmed gray hats. The man who drove you, clearly in his 30s, probably, he directed them to let you inside before handing you a red key card that would get you access anywhere on site that your PIN code wouldn't work. The black double doors that led to the HQ were heavy and without electronic assistance, required the strength of 2 people much stronger than yourself. You're immediately met by shiny white tile floors, a steel staircase up and down, and a wide open area with at least a dozen sectioned off cubicles. Then you feel it. Air conditioning. All around, everywhere. You decide you're never leaving this building again. You immediately feel less sticky. You smile. Your office is upstairs, one of the security guards, Doug, says. He's young, mid-20s, like you. He's in good shape, too. Last you heard, he's married with number 2 on the way. You smile and nod as you head up the stairs. You stop at the administration level and walk down a long hallway only to pause when you see two vending machines, one on each side of an office with a nameplate with your last name. The vending machines are equally exciting. One, on the left, has ice-cold cans of soda for 25 cents. Oh, what a time to be alive. And the other, a variety of snacks, including the world-famous Little Debbie zebra cakes. You take 2 quarters from your pocket and purchase both a zebra cake and an ice-cold can of Pepsi Cola. You know it's not good for you, but you figure one little snack couldn't hurt, right? You look around for a moment and find a sign for your own private bathroom. You smile. This is what 3 months of busting ass gets you. You were able to convince the director to give you your own private office with air conditioning on the HQ as a reserve, should the office on the beach ever be compromised. You're all alone on this level, allowed to self-direct and accomplish every task on your list before the October 92 deadline. Just 2 months away. The sound of the soda can opening sings down the hallway. Your first sip. It's magic. You worry about disturbing others with the crinkling plastic of the zebra cakes, but smile when you remember you're all alone. The first bite into the soft and smushy zebra cake is pure bliss. It reminds you of 100 days of grade school when Mom would pack your lunches. You open the door to your office and immediately stop and stare at the grandeur of a large mahogany desk, a record player, a company PC, a cushioned office chair, and a large open window that would allow you to look out over the workers in the cubicles below. This is what 9 years of busting ass got you. After unpacking your things and closing the door to your office, you open a nearby cabinet and begin to thumb through a selections of record. You select AC/DC and put a needle on it. Highway to Hell plays in your soundproofed office, and immediately you're transported back to your days in college when your parents worried about your lack of direction or chances of getting a real good job. Currently, your salary is around $120,000 a year, and that's before bonuses and benefits and insurance. Who's laughing now? You shout out loud. You scream the lyrics to the song and dance wildly about your office in celebration for finally making it, as they say. You start headbanging, air guitaring, and dancing just in time for your assistant, Ashley, to open the door and walk into the room. Your 33-year-old assistant stands there in high heels, a soft black skirt, and similar white button-down to the one that you wear. She has red lipstick on, and her brown hair is in a pigtail. To anyone her age or a bit younger, she would be considered quite attractive. She smiles and tells you that it has arrived and is prepared to meet you in the server room. You smile and nod, quickly correcting her mistake Don't you mean IT? You respond with a smile. She lets out a short laugh, realizing her mistake. You thank her for the update, and she offers to lead you to that area of the compound, as it can be quite maze-like to get there. A moment later, and you're back outside, sweating once again. Somehow, someway, it's even hotter out now than it was before. Ashley smiles when she sees you struggling and comments on how it's not as familiar for a person from the States. But you know this job, cybersecurity, and ensuring all of the park project systems work in tandem is crucial to the park's success. Deep in the compound, amidst a cluster of lush trees and vegetation, dripping with moisture, you see a heavy iron door leading into a concrete complex. Ashley enters a familiar key code, 1071 1071, into a nearby electronic lock. She takes a moment to explain that in the case of a catastrophic power failure, that there is a physical master key that opens every door on site. You think over the ways that a system like this could be abused, backdoored, and quickly add it to your must-do to fix list. You ask about a potential for hacking or an inside job as the two of you follow individual hanging lights through an underground passage toward the server room. She tells you it doesn't make sense, but also adds that if any of those who wrote code for the park really wanted to, they could crash the entire grid easily. She doesn't seem concerned, though, as the two of you step around a corner and head toward another door beset with a number pad and an additional keypad. She again enters four numbers, 1071 1071, and then motions for you to swipe your key card from earlier. After you do, a loud ka-chink echoes from the door in front of you. The door opens slowly, and two men stand inside of a room filled with large computer towers. There's a short ballast with a few light bulbs hanging in the middle of the room from the ceiling. The lights are low and soft, easy on the eyes. You're surprised how many cables, power cords, and how many of them still need to be connected. You casually start plugging in cables where they belong as you listen to the concerns of the IT department, or the IT department, as Ashley would call it. None of it is things that will postpone the project's launch, except for one, an intercompany cyber attack. Really, the only way to prevent this is to require two people to sign off on any code changes or even IT infrastructure changes. You present this idea to IT and they agree, quickly solving the issue. You stop for a moment, looking over the server room once more. This is a perfect chance to question IT about anything related to the park. Your assistant takes a moment to assure you everything will be fine, however, and before you know it, you're back in your office, looking over notes. Ashley never hangs around long. She's always getting into work somewhere, and before you realize it, the administration level falls eerily silent. Hours go by as you read about a test run for a few different species that will allegedly be featured in the park. The concept of this place actually being a fully functional money-making machine, a theme park, sends an excited jitter through your system. After all, you've helped build this entire thing. There are 3 specimens currently in progress, one codenamed Trike, the other Sue, and the third being Alpha. According to briefing, they would be bringing Alpha on site later in the evening and are requesting your presence in genetics at 1900. Most, if not everyone, will be gone by then, and you are to do a full inspection of the area. Genetics was relatively interesting and an exciting part of the compound. If you remember it right, heavily automated. You're hoping to see some of the core team robotics at work during your inspection. For a moment, you're a giddy 19-year-old again, excited to shadow your first job. And like said teenager, you start to hum to yourself in celebration. During all of this, you've forgotten about your zebra cakes and your once cold Pepsi, which you had yet to taste other than your first sip. You bring the can to your lips for one more, and it's warm now, barely any carbonation left. You roll your eyes and set the drink on your desk. After all, you only got one sip. Working in the Isla system has always been a dream of yours, and it feels so weird to have finally achieved that dream. It has you wondering, what's next? Genetics. That's what's next. The genetics laboratories were a brisk 20-minute walk to the other side of the island HQ. Thankfully, the heat was subsiding in the evening, and the humidity was also beginning to wane. This was a welcome change. I want to take a moment to thank everyone for listening tonight. Be sure you're subscribed here and liking these videos. Remember, I like to offer my listeners variety, so be sure to vote in our community polls on what you'd like to see us explore next. Now, back to the genetics lab. 2 huge sliding iron doors separated the entryway of the genetics lab from the outside world. You always assumed this was in case of emergency. But still, you wonder what type of emergencies could actually arise. You enter your code on an electronic side panel 1071 1071. A beep chimes, and the pair of doors slowly open. The irons cry to a stop as a big, sprawling storage and parking bay beckons you in. Multiple themed jeeps and trucks sit, awaiting drivers, while a few storage pens have already been prepped for specimen transfer. A few security guards wait by the only door into genetics. These 2 collectively check your ID and ensure everything is kosher for your visit to the genetics lab. After a nod and a welcome from both security officers, you enter through the door. A moment later, the door suctions closed behind you, locking you inside. You stand in a narrow hallway, lit by soft, yellowish lights. The long hallway is enough to deter anyone from trying to sneak around the facility. Eventually, observation windows replace the walls, and a variety of scenery awaits you. The first section you walk through is a simplistic storage area with multiple bins and garbage receptacles, gray in color, steel in construction, and eventually you come to a walled garden with a virtual world of greenery and flora to behold. You smile as you recognize a few of them as poisonous and some as toxic. Though beautiful, you quickly make a mental note to have them removed before the park enters its public screenings. They plan to have VIP tours come right through this way, and the last thing this system needs is another lawsuit. 37, you say out loud, as if anyone is listening, and the scenery changes again. That's how many times this park has been sued. Sued so far, you remind yourself. The new scenery makes you smile as you watch a series of robot-like contraptions working in the main genetics lab. Currently, the science team is making and working with a batch of relatively large ostrich eggs. There is a large cradle-like structure filled with hay and lined with a circle of the eggs. They are quite large, about the size of 2 human fists put together, off gray in color, with multiple rivets and divots and lines and indents all around them. There are a few heat lamps with dull orangish lights hanging overhead, and an array of robotics arms connected to a mobile podium. It swings over to adjust the direction of the lamps, but also they rotate the precious eggs. You notice one move. The egg shakes again. Then again. It's happening, you think immediately. You move forward quickly to a final doorway at the end of the long hall and enter your code once more. 1071 1071. The pad beeps and the door opens to a short walkway leading to an elevator. You press a small, circular down arrow and it illuminates green. A moment later, a ding echoes from the elevator and the silver doors open. You step inside and press a number 1 on a selection of 1 through 4. In a moment, the doors close before the elevator takes you down to the first floor, known amongst the workers as the labs floor. You're looking for the first door, a heavy steel door with a bright, shiny silver handle, and the usual keypad and a large red warning that reads robotics in use. Once more, you enter your 1071 1071, and after the door unlocks, you operate the handle and step inside. There, at the back of a wide open area, you see the incubation nest. You move quickly, grabbing a pair of single-use disposable gloves from a supply station. Near the nest is an emergency call button. It's large, circular, and yellow in color. You push it. This sends a signal to the science campus deeper in the HQ. You knew the human scientists would arrive in around 10 minutes, but that still leaves 9 minutes and 45 seconds of need for your own intervention. You move quickly to the nest and smile when you see one of the thick, fat ostrich eggs rocking side to side and moving. Then you hear a pop as part of the egg breaks free and reveals a flat, multi-toed foot. It's rounded and smooth, not jagged like a bird's. The little skin you see looks more reptilian than avian. Your eyes, they must be deceiving you. There's no way. This is... A beep sounds as the door to the lab opens and a middle-aged Asian man comes fast walking in, wiping away some sweat. He grabs gloves and steps right up to the nest. You stare in shock as the man works with a laser focus, completely intent on hatching this animal. Whatever it is. What is this creature? You asked, without hesitation, as the doctor turned to you, holding an animal you've never seen before. In fact, you don't think anyone's ever seen this before. He smiles at you. See for yourself. You look closely, still in shock of the impossibility you've witnessed. We're going to make a fortune with this place.